All right, welcome everybody to the Survivor Tocantins finale.
The
It
finale,
ends.
baby.
It
It all ends
ends
tonight.
tonight.
Evil dies tonight. Well, no,
What
that's a different
do you know
thing.
about that? What do you know about
I just know that phrase.
that?
That phrase is really annoying to me. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
So yeah, if you're new to the channel, every week we watch a new episode of Survivor. I'm a big fan. I've seen them all already, but I'm taking Alec through the season for the first time, first-hand reaction. For this will be our 18th season finished after tonight. Well, kind of after tonight, but a week from now we will come back and do a full in-depth season review. We'll take your questions, which we already would have gathered by the time you see this, and then we'll be doing a whole ranking video, ranking the winner amongst the winners, ranking the season amongst the other seasons, and ranking the cast as a whole. So it's a fun way to
right.
really wrap it up and feel like we've done it justice the whole season.
Yeah,
And
put a little neat bow on it at the end. But
obviously, we'll get more into your
uh,
thoughts. But how are you feeling about the season so far and like coming into the
the
finale?
season, the season is kind of wild, but I'm kind of here for it. Like honestly, the saga of Coach has been like it's made the season. It
Yeah.
really has made the season. I do also I really love Steven and JT being like kind of this secretly in control of the game the whole time. That's been just a fun dynamic to see because it's like they've been like real confident. Like I think I think maybe for some people it could be a little bit maybe a little boring because they've sort of just been able to kind of successfully do whatever they need to make things work. But it's been fun because it's like it's seeing them kind of like having to like wrestle with and wrangle with different like things that come up
Mm-hmm.
throughout the season. It's just been a lot of fun. I don't know. I've really been enjoying the season a lot. Like I think a lot more than I was initially maybe thinking that I did. Because like
Okay.
looking back, I'm like, man, there's just Coach is a crazy character. He's weird and wild and strange and
Yeah.
bizarre, and him mixed with some fun, maybe a little too easy strategy, but it's been fun just seeing them navigate the ins and outs of
Hmm.
everything. So
Cool.
um,
Yeah, I've been
yeah,
enjoying it for sure. Um, and last time at the end of the last episode, I asked you what I try to ask every finale nowadays is I asked who would you put your money on if you had to put your money on someone winning, and who would you most want to win, and who would be the most fitting winner for the season as a whole. So you said
mm,
you would put your money on JT, you would want Steven, and the most fitting for the season would be JT. All right, you
yeah.
stand by that?
I think I stand by that. Yeah, yep.
Okay.
I've like Steven has just been to me. He's kind of like the um, JT is more strategic than maybe the edit me let on. But a lot of it has seemingly been more Steven kind of masterminding a lot of it. It's giving some bits of Rob Sesternino, and I like that energy in a lot of like thinking about the game
Mm-hmm.
in that kind of way. He's had a much easier go of it, I would
Mm-hmm.
say in general, than he did because he's just been kind of just slamming control of the game pretty much here this whole time. He hasn't really had to
And they
wrangle
came
with too
in
much. But
without the numbers too. Like their tribe
yeah,
was down in numbers, so that's pretty amazing.
it's pretty impressive that they've been able to do that for sure. Um,
But then we
but
have Taj and Aaron, which you haven't mentioned.
mm,
They're
mhm.
not in any of your winner predictions or desires. How would you feel about
No,
them
well,
as a
here's the
winner?
thing. Aaron, not so much, but Taj would actually be. I've liked Taj quite a bit throughout most of the season. I would not be disappointed if she won at all.
Hmm.
I think this is another like indication where it's like we're coming down to like the last four, and there's three people that like I would ultimately be pretty okay with winning. Because Taj has really been kind of playing the game kind of from the get go too. She's made alliances with different people here and there. She's you know she's made like some kind of executive decisions on how she feels about people, and like she's just completely like, all right, well, I'm not going to side with them anymore. I'm with you now. And so that's been she's just also a very entertaining presence. She's just a lot of fun. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, I wouldn't be overly disappointed if she won. Um, Erin is kind of one of those. She's been kind of in the background for a lot of the season. So it's really only in the last like couple episodes where she's sort of started to be a bit more of a presence, but
Yeah.
she's allied with all the wrong people at all the wrong times. She kind of had the same problem with as Sierra, I think, for some of it too. But she's just been able because she skated in with Coach and with Deb, they kind of have kept her around um
And then she
for
came
stuff.
in as
So
like the plus one, Steven and JT,
yeah.
and Taj. They were like, to the extent that they just sent her off to exile just to hold it down for them while they enjoy the reward together.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, so your power rankings for the final four: JT, Steven, Taj, Aaron, and yeah,
Mhm.
unfortunately we can't say. Wonder what if Coach wins? How about if Coach
I
was
know.
the
I know. I think Coach, honestly, if Coach was in here, Coach would kind of be a fitting winner of the season in a weird way.
I
He's
don't
like the
know.
most frustrating person in the world. He's the most frustrating person in the world. But so much of this season was just,
No, the most fit. I think the
he
most fitting would be for him to get to the end and then just get like humiliated. Probably,
yeah,
yeah,
well, yeah. I think that's actually more. That would be a more appropriate ending. Yeah, it to be like a 7-0 vote against
yeah,
him.
yeah,
Yeah, to be
yeah.
like, I thought everyone was on my side. I don't understand it.
Because like, what would he even say? What would he even say to
I
them
don't.
that
Yeah,
anyone would be receptive to? You know?
it'd be right at the reunion too. He's doing that too. He's have to. Coach, what do you think about the fact that you were so confident that you had the votes? Tell me what you're thinking.
Yeah. But at the very least, we will get Coach at the reunion. We'll get him
We
in the
will.
jury, and we'll get
We need
some of
to.
the
I
other
need to
guys.
just I need we need more. We need to figure out like
Yeah.
are we going to figure out who Coach is? That's what I want to know. And that's also what I'm curious about. He's the person I'm looking at the most for jury. I want to see the jury question.
Yeah.
What's going to happen there?
Okay.
The Warriors,
Well, let's get
the
into it.
Warrior.
As always, there will be a link in the description to the highlights of a reaction. For the finale, they'll be
Mm-hmm.
a little bit longer than usual, and you come back afterwards for the discussion. All right. Yeah, there it is. JT
JT sweep,
7-0.
JT sweep. I'm telling you, I had if I had money on it, it would be that for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It really
makes sense.
was like he was at the top of the pecking order the entire season, and it never changed all the way to the end.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Steven,
in retrospect, not the most interesting way it all played out because it just sort of like that's how it ended up. But for pure entertainment value, I think this season definitely has a lot.
yeah,
Just from the characters and the delving into the weird world of Coach.
it's absolutely, and it definitely is the most fitting end for JT to win
Definitely.
because he just couldn't. He's so wishy washy. Steven was so wishy washy on some stuff, and
Mm,
we still don't know for sure if what he would have done if he won final immunity.
yeah.
Clearly, he had to vote him out if he wanted to win, but we don't know. We'll never know for sure, I guess. But
Yeah.
Steven and JT is a duo, the powerhouse that ran the whole season all the way to the end. So that's cool.
Definitely.
Cool narrative.
You like to see some a bromance like that, play out in full and it did. On the show,
Yeah.
they had the rough patch towards the end. We saw them have a row in front of everybody. It was tough, it's because like sometimes the passive aggressive or like the small fights are like sometimes the worst to have to listen to. I
Mm.
mean, I don't like hearing people yell either, but like, sometimes that's better to get it out that way rather than being like a little quiet,
Hmm.
it's like, ugh, I don't know.
GT never received a vote against him the entire season. Then he received every vote to win.
Yeah,
So
how about that?
that's the first winner to have a quote unquote perfect game, is what Survivor fans call
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Obviously, it's not
Wow.
like, it's not the biggest deal in the world. Like, there's been some
Right,
really great winners that didn't check off all those boxes, but
right. Because sometimes like you get a stray vote just randomly, and I
yeah,
mean,
like
like Steven did.
Earl had all the jury
Or
votes in the
Earl, yeah,
end, but he had like a random vote in the pre-jury. So,
yeah,
so yeah, and then sometimes a random juror will just vote for the other person just like randomly, and you lose one vote. So
yeah.
it's like,
Right.
yeah, but it's still obviously very impressive. The perfect clean
Mm-hmm.
game. JT won. Well, apparently it was the last three immunity challenges in a row to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So we never quite got to see would there be any deliberation at the final four stage and at the final three stage to get JT out. So
Yeah.
it would have been interesting.
Yeah, it would have been interesting to see like would Aaron and Taj have scrambled, because it's like the thing is they can tout all they want about like how how bad Steven was for going against him, and it's like, but when push came to shove, if they had the opportunity, would they've tried to get JT out, because they know that they never would have probably beaten him. Like nobody in that final four probably could have beaten him in terms of just
Yeah.
raw vote power. So,
In
do you try to get rid of him there?
Yeah, I have a feeling they wouldn't have because Taj was so strong on
Yeah,
the three.
yeah,
She didn't. It was a complete blind spot. She
yeah.
thought they were solid to that three.
Mm,
So the major intrigue would have been if Steven won that final immunity challenge. But
right, because then would he have taken Aaron? I think it was leaning towards he would have taken Aaron,
mm-hmm.
but it's like, would he have made that decision? Like that's the thing where it's like it's kind of tough to say, because it's like holding him to it at the end. Honestly, like if I were him, I probably would have just lied. Because it's like if you don't know, what's the thing that you can say that will make you sound the best?
He
I mean, I
probably
would have been
thought
like,
that they
yes, it
wanted to
was,
hear him say that he
yeah,
would vote him out. I guess is probably what they
yeah,
wanted to hear. I don't know.
I guess,
Coach didn't want to hear
I
that,
mean,
but
yeah, I would have been, well, probably my case would have been like, look, would I have been tempted to take Aaron? Absolutely. Like JT's an amazing guy. He's tough to go up against, but like when push came to shove, that loyalty is what is ultimately what I have to stick with. Like
mm-hmm.
even amongst that temptation, our bond is way stronger than fleeting temptation. So I would have gone with JT. Like something like that would have been a lot stronger of a case. Probably wouldn't have made a difference. I think everyone was pretty much just going to vote for JT anyways. But like, not a great look at the end to come across being like,
Yeah,
yeah, I probably would have taken Aaron. I don't
yeah. I don't know.
know.
I've always thought it was a slam dunk for JT.
Mm,
Recently, I did hear like Tyson and Aaron say that they were coming into Final Tribal thinking they would vote for Steven. And then it was
mm,
like the Final Tribal that at least Tyson said
yeah,
he was like, I can't vote for him now because
yeah.
and he did kind of come off pretty like wishy washy. He started out really strong, had some really good
He
answers,
did great. He started off really great, but like he wavered a lot towards the end.
and then he's just like,
It's
oh
that
come
nervousness.
on,
It's
man.
that the
Yeah.
internalized nervousness. He wavered at the end there, and yeah. Oh come on! Oh come on! Like no, don't do that. Don't do that. Not good. Doesn't look good.
But it was
Abort!
fun though.
Abort! Don't do that.
It was
Oh, it was
fun
a
to
lot of
see
fun.
this
It was fun to
wholesome
watch.
duo go in there, and then they're just like going at each other. You know.
It was, and it wasn't like a big rah, rah, rah. It was kind of like it was like a little bit of like a pecking,
Hmm.
like chickens fighting kind of like it felt
But I like how
very
even like certain questions where it was like Taj, uh, and then like Steven's trying to like paint JT as this bad guy, like, and
yeah.
he's like,
It's
hold
just like,
on, and then there's
hold
a
on,
whole
what?
back and forth about it, and she's like, it doesn't matter, it's just it's fine.
Yeah,
But it was fun seeing that actually. It feels like Steven straight up was just trying to to really slander him there at the end.
Yeah, he did. He really tried to throw him under the bus all of a sudden. It was just like
I think
he had gotten like
he might have seen
he
the
got some
writing on
little
the wall.
slights. He might have seen the writing on the wall. He did get a couple of little slights. They weren't like overtly like against him, but they were like
Hmm.
kind of definitely like painted him in a much worse light than
Yeah.
JT. So he might have taken that and been like, "Oh, I got to scramble. I got to get
Yeah, I mean the
show up
person
good."
before Taj was Sierra saying like, why did you take this weak ass player Steven with you? If you really wanted to bring the strong people, you would
Yeah,
have been up there with Brendan or Tyson or Debbie. Yeah,
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 yeah. The
that's
big strong competitors. I mean, like yeah, Debbie. Debbie was all right, I guess, but she didn't even. I love how she didn't even mention coach in that.
yeah,
That's
no.
awesome. That's awesome.
I'm surprised she even.
Um,
I'm like I don't really know what her angle is there because like Debbie and Tyson were both like horrible to her, but I guess she still
yeah,
thinks they're strong. Um,
I guess I don't know.
it's like Brendan
Yeah,
should have been there with you. Why didn't she make that happen?
it's like Brendan, the biggest his biggest threat. It would have turned on him. Yeah, okay,
All
yeah,
the way.
sure.
Should have completely maneuvered the game completely differently with a completely different set of alliances than what you did to
Yeah,
get Brendan there.
yeah. That was one of the more confusing questions that I've heard at a final travel.
Yeah, and coach was all
But
about the noble warrior, honesty and integrity.
mm,
Which yes, they both had the opposite arguments. JT is like, well, I told you I wouldn't vote for you, and then I didn't, even though I did know you were going. And then Steven's like, well, yeah, that's the cowardly way to do it, essentially. You know,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I did vote for everyone on the jury, so
Hmm. Yeah.
pretty good
Wanted to,
arguments.
yeah,
Like you
yeah.
said in the
Overall, not
beginning, with Steven's whole pitch was that he had more growth, and like that's it's a clear distinction you can make. At least it's like
yeah.
you can argue that it
I
was harder for him to get
right.
to where he was.
I, I think that is a good slant to take. It was unfortunate because it sort of got kind of rebutted fairly
Pretty
quickly.
quickly, yeah.
But I think I mean really in terms of attack to take, that's kind of what you have to find attack that's not directly attacking the guy that you've been the most loyal to in the game. That just comes across bad too.
Yeah.
But
And it is a clear way to set yourself apart. If you're saying you
yeah,
did everything in lockstep this whole way,
mm,
and JT's his golden boy, then I can say
right,
this, and hopefully they're receptive to it, and they weren't. I mean, Brendan and JT both kind of approached it from the angle was like, well, if like you're doing a sporting event or any other competition, they don't factor in who had it the hardest leading up to the competition or whatever.
yeah. But that being said, in
Survivor.
this isn't. I would say, well, all right, this isn't pro sports though.
Yeah.
And in a lot of amateur sports, they then tend to give awards for most improved because that's rewarded. Improvement is rewarded in the workplace, in life, and Survivor is a game that is unique, unlike a real sporting event. In that, I think coming with Attack, he came after that where he's like, well, Survivor is a game where growth is rewarded, or it can certainly can be. Um,
Yeah,
so
it's not so binary as
yeah,
a sporting competition. You're
yeah,
formulating a jury of people you voted off based on, and they can vote for you however they want based on their prior
right.
relationship or on the actual merit. People can flip a coin. They can do whatever they want to vote.
All right. Pick a number.
Yeah. JT's the winner. I mean,
JT win it. Yeah, I mean like he did great during all these last challenges and everything.
oh yeah, we have to shout
Um
out the final immunity challenge.
that
It
was
was
awesome.
awesome.
That
Yeah.
was fantastic. Like I was like what an inspired final immunity. Like I just love because it's about a lot of these are have to do with endurance, pure endurance and mind. And the mind involved with endurance, but like dexterity and focus. Like when you're low on brain food, you've been doing this for like 38 days or whatever at the time that they're doing this final immunity.
Mm-hmm.
Your focus and your concentration are also being tested in terms of your strength and your endurance as well. So like that's such an interesting thing, and also kind of makes for a dramatic but a lot less prolonged final, where it's like, okay, we're not out here for 6.5 hours trying to figure out who can balance on on this beam while
Mm-hmm.
we spit water at them or whatever. It's like, no, it's like
While the
who
jury
can
spits water at
yeah,
them and they
the
gargle it.
jury
Like these other
but it's
challenges.
like like these other challenges they do, like a double dare thing. But what no, it's something that it's just all about focus and dexterity and like
Yeah.
managing your
Is
fine motor skills. So
something that anyone theoretically can win. Doesn't
yeah,
benefit just the buff guy or the most athletic person. Um, and yeah, so JT wasn't a shoo-in to win. I wouldn't have necessarily assumed that he would
yeah,
win this kind of challenge, but
right,
he's just too good. Just too good.
yeah. You
And
just
you could tell
locked in.
Steven was getting nervous too. You could tell. He was
Mm,
fumbling with the ball a couple of times before he actually dropped.
yeah, yeah.
But I mean, and Erin, she put up a valiant effort, but
Hmm.
ultimately, yeah, we did kind of gloss over the fact that Taj was voted out first, so that was the first initial betrayal here.
Yeah, it did ultimately kind of end up being sort of meaningless, I think. Like there was the talk of like they were feeling sort of threatened by Taj in terms of like maybe a jury vote. Um, they were threatened. They thought that she may have more of an opportunity to win versus Aaron in a immunity sort of
Yeah,
sense
and
as well.
we have no idea obviously how she would do on that
Yeah,
kind of challenge,
yeah, because
but
she might have been great at it for all we know.
yeah, I mean they're going into it thinking it's probably going to be like an endurance or this huge like big uh exhausting challenge or whatever. So it's like
Right.
I don't know, Aaron probably not anyone to worry about as much. So,
Hmm.
but yeah, that was a brutal betrayal, and ultimately, JT was in a position where he was talking through whether he should vote Steven out. And he's like, it's probably better to vote Steven because it'd be easier against Aaron. But now we
Yeah.
see he clearly didn't have to.
Yeah.
It didn't really
Not at
matter.
all.
It feels like he was sitting
Not.
in a spot, sitting
Yeah.
pretty at that point.
Yeah. For sure.
Who's your MVP for the episode?
Give it to JT.
I
Staying
was gonna
for
say,
being a loyal champion. A ultimately, like, Steven's often the well spoken guy, quote unquote, but his nervousness got in front of him, and like he was pretty well spoken to the jury. I thought like he did a great job answering their
yeah, I
questions
don't think he had any
and
bad
tackling stuff.
answers, JT.
Not at all. Not at all.
So
You know.
yeah, just pure domination, just pure domination.
Yeah. It was great. I mean, it was great to see. At the end of it all, it's very fitting ending to this season of Survivor.
Yep. We do have the reunion. We're gonna check that
Yep.
out. It'll probably be up
Absolutely.
within a couple of days from now, and after that, we'll we'll be going into the review a week from now and on to the next. All right.
Absolutely. Always onwards and upwards.
I'm gonna recommend a random video from our catalog for you guys to check out. In the meantime, I want you to check out the very first episode of Box Art Battles. All right.
Heck yeah.
It's a series where we pit video game box arts against each other in a tournament bracket, and we debate and vote on which one is the best, all the way until we crown a winner of that episode. All right, we usually have a different guest each episode. That was the first episode, so it was just us.
Yeah. Good
Until
stuff.
next time, Survivor every week. Lots of content here on the channel.
Hmm.
Plenty of playlists. Go to zacharcher.net/survivor for all of our almost 18 full seasons of content. All right.
Pretty amazing.